Oh my goodness, you guys, look at this cake. I know that's a big piece, but I have been so excited about the Bumpy Cake since I decided to even do Popular State Desserts. When I saw this, I was like, that's it, I'm doing Popular State Desserts this year because I could not wait for this Bumpy Cake.
And we know one of you out there has been the same way. Judy, we've been checking your comments every week. We're finally here, Michigan.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Okay. But first, let's make it. This was a kind of complicated cake to make. There are 3 parts, but let's get to it. We're going to start with the cake batter, and that's going to be sugar, flour, cocoa powder, baking soda, and a little bit of salt in one bowl. We're going to keep the dry ingredients and wet ingredients separate at first. Then we're going to take a couple eggs and some buttermilk, a little bit of oil, and some vanilla. And now we're going to whisk both of those together. So we want to combine all those dry ingredients together, make sure there's no lumps in there, whisk that together. And then here's a fun ingredient, a half a cup of coffee, you guys. That makes it so rich and moist. And then we're going to whisk that all together. And then we're going to combine our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. We're going to use a handheld mixer and then just mix that until it's nice and fully combined. If you're in a pinch or you don't want to make a homemade cake, you could definitely use a box mix. It's not going to be as good, but you could definitely do it. Now I sprayed a lot of cooking spray on this pan and then added that batter right into there, and we're going to cook that in the oven. I'll have all of the directions in the description if you want to tackle this cake. It is definitely worth it, but it is quite a few steps. Now, while that's baking, let's make the bumps. And that's sugar, cornstarch, a little bit of salt, and then we're going to whisk in some milk. This is so weird. As you're whisking this and as it's heating up, it just gets thicker and thicker and thicker, almost past pudding stage, almost to like a paste. And then right as that is just about done, we're going to add in a little bit of vanilla and then whisk that in too. Now, both the cake and the bumps, this is the bump part, need to be completely cool before you work with them again. So I transferred these to a glass bowl, and then I used a spatula and just kind of pushed it up on the sides. I read that that was a good way to just help it cool a little bit faster in that bowl. If you have any tips for me, let me know. Now, once that is cooling on the stove, our cake is ready. We're going to pull that out. Look at how nice and chocolatey that looks. I did put a toothpick in just to make sure that that center was completely cooked, and it was. And then we're going to let that cool on the counter. Okay, now let's finish those bumps. We're going to add in butter 1 tablespoon at a time into this mixture, and you can see it's kind of solidified. It looks a little bit like paste. And I was really nervous right now. This is one of those trust the process kind of recipes, because at this point I'm like, oh no, I ruined it. I don't know what I did wrong. But I just kept adding butter 1 tablespoon at a time and just mixing that in. And then once I had all of the butter added, then you mix it for a good long time, like 2 to 5 minutes. And you will see that gets nice and fluffy and the color lightens up, and then it tasted so good. We're going to just stick this in a piping bag, or if you don't have a piping bag, you can use a Ziploc baggie like I did. And then we're going to do the most fun part of this recipe, and that is we're going to pipe those long logs of this frosting on the cake to make the bumps. Now, again, this is the first time I've ever made this recipe. I am doing these Popular State Desserts for fun for 2024. I am not an expert, but I really loved this part, even though it was a little bit messy. I ended up going back in with a knife to kind of straighten these out and make them all uniform. And it does not matter. This cake has bumps. It's a little bit messy. It's delicious. You're going to love it, even if it's not perfect. Now, when you have all of your bumps on, we're going to put this in the freezer for about 30 minutes. And while that is getting cold, we're going to make the topping. This is butter and milk and some Caro syrup. You can use the light or the dark. This is going to just give it that nice shiny look. some cocoa powder, and a little bit of salt. We're going to whisk that together, and now there are quite a few different recipes. I use the recipe where you boil this for 3 minutes. At this point, there is no sugar in here yet, though. And once you've boiled that for 3 minutes, you're going to add in 4 cups of powdered sugar. And you're going to think there's no way that you're going to mix that all together because it seems so dry. But that powdered sugar just melts right into that chocolate and it turns into the most delicious fudgy frosting. Now, I did kind of mess up on this step a little bit. You should pour this on while it is still boiling lava hot, but I thought, oh no, it's gonna melt my bumps, so I'm gonna let it cool off for 5 or 10 minutes. I didn't need to do that. You should pour it on right now. Take your cake out of the freezer, those bumps are nice and frozen, and pour your frosting on. It'll make it so it's so much smoother on top. You can see my frosting is starting to cool a little bit, and my frosting didn't get quite as smooth on top. It had a little bit of lumps and bumps, but you know what? It's a bumpy cake, and that is just fine for my first time. I will definitely make this cake again. It was so, so, so good. Now, guess what? It also happened to be my mom's 77th birthday, so we used this as her birthday cake.
Happy birthday, dear Janet. Happy birthday to you.
Now let's cut into it and look at those bumps. Just like all the pictures I've seen on the internet, it turned out so great and everyone loved it. It was so good. What a great birthday cake. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at this cake. I know that's a big piece, but I have been so excited about the Bumpy Cake since I decided to even do Popular State Desserts. When I saw this, I was like, that's it, I'm doing Popular State Desserts this year because I could not wait for this Bumpy Cake.
And we know one of you out there has been the same way. Judy, we've been checking your comments every week. We're finally here, Michigan.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Okay.
I think I see why you like it so much, though, Judy. It's really chocolatey.
It's so moist. Fudgy
Rich
frosting.
And that frosting, the little white, is not so sweet that it overpowers you. It's a subtle, nice. Whoa!
Okay, here come the bloopers.
That's a good piece of cake. Michigan has a lot to be proud of.
This is so good. The Bumpy Cake, you guys, make this cake. Try this recipe. It'll be in the description. Wow, this is a good cake.
Nice job on this one, hon. Thank you.
Wait, the token cat always comes. Somebody,
this is a new one. This one's
somebody
Minnie.
is always wanting to be on camera with us. This is Minnie. This is our first little kitty. She's 2.5.
2, yeah, a little over.
Sweet girl. Very sweet. Oh, there's someone behind us too. Hang on. This is the crybaby that always wants to be in every video.
This is the one that stole my heart.
She wants to be in every video. She's the crybaby. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week.
Have a great night.